What's up, movie fans? Guys, I recently became a massive fan of the Scream franchise when I watched all of the movies for the first time leading up to Scream 7. I've already made a couple of Scream videos on my channel. I just did a video ranking all of the movies, and I also did a short ranking all of the cold opens. And today, we're doing the Scream video that I have been most excited to do, ranking all of the Ghostfaces. Obviously, if you're a Scream fan, you know that this franchise isn't just a horror franchise, it's also a whodunit franchise, where a different person, or rather, different people are behind the Ghostface mask in every single movie, and it's just a ton of fun trying to figure out who Ghostface is before the end reveal. So today, I am going to be ranking all 16 Ghostfaces to determine which ones are great, which ones are okay, and which ones are from Scream 7. Before we get into this video, I just want to clarify, spoilers. Obviously, I will be spoiling the main reveal in every single Scream movie, so if you haven't seen all of them, please leave this video. Anyway, let's get into the rankings, starting with number 16, Carl Gibbs, one of the 3 Ghostfaces from Scream 7, and one of the most unique Ghostfaces in the entire franchise because he does not make it to the third act of this movie. Basically, this is a character who you see once early on in the movie in a coffee shop. He kind of gives Sydney a weird look, and then halfway through the movie, Gail manages to kill one of the Ghostfaces by running him over with her car, and they unmask him, and it turns out to be the random guy in the coffee shop. And it's kind of a funny change of pace, because in the movie, they even make jokes about, like, wait, so we don't know this guy? Like, for once, Ghostface isn't somebody we know? And I thought that was kind of funny, because, like, that's changing up the entire franchise. Like, Ghostface is always someone you know. Yeah, it's kind of unique, but also at the same time, as a result, what we have here is a Ghostface with no personality, no lines of dialogue, no motivation, like, pretty much nothing. He is, by design, the most boring Ghostface in the franchise, so he easily had to come into last place. Number 15, Marco Davis, also from Scream 7, and another incredibly boring Ghostface. He has more of a presence in the film than Carl Gibbs, but really all he has is one scene around halfway through the movie where Sydney and Gail are at a mental institution trying to figure out more about who Carl Gibbs was. They briefly meet Marco, and then at the end of the movie you find out that he's a Ghostface, and the reveal just comes across as incredibly underwhelming because you barely knew this guy. Like, he was in one scene, and he doesn't have a motivation either with him. It's just that he's in love with the other Ghostface in the movie. So yeah, I also found Marco to be an incredibly boring, underwhelming Ghostface. Number 14, Jessica Bowden, also from Scream 7. Yeah, all of them are in last. Scream 7 sucks. We've already been over this. Yeah, no, this was pretty easy for me. All 3 of the Scream 7 Ghostfaces are terrible in my opinion. It was really just a matter of which one sucked the least. And with Jessica, she at least has a presence in the movie. She is established as Sydney's friend and neighbor, so when you get to the final reveal, it doesn't feel as out of nowhere as it did with Marco or Carl. But where Jessica really falters is with her motivation. She has possibly the stupidest Ghostface motivation in the entire franchise, where when she was explaining her motivation, I was like in the theater thinking, wait, what? Run that by me again? What are you talking about? Like, okay, so your husband was abusive, so you killed him. I get that part, but you also want to kill Sydney because she didn't go to New York during Scream 6? So, like, how did she offend you or wrong you by doing that? But also, you're talking about wanting to keep her daughter alive to make her the new Sydney? Like, what is going on in your brain? Like, none of it made any sense. It felt like the writers just, like, made up that motivation on the spot. No, I thought Jessica was easily the stupidest and most incomprehensible Ghostface. She's still more of a presence in the film than the bottom two, but that's not saying much. Okay, anyway, moving on from the terrible Scream 7 Ghostfaces, next up we have number 13, Jason Carvey from Scream 6, the most unique Ghostface in the franchise, because he's not just a Ghostface, he's the cold open kill. Basically, Scream 6 opens with this incredibly subversive cold open where it starts out like a normal Scream movie. Ghostface lures a girl into an alley and then kills her, but instead of cutting away, you stay on Ghostface and he unmasks himself as Jason Carvey and goes back to his apartment. And for a second, you're like, did Ghostface just reveal himself in the first 3 minutes of the movie? And then he gets a call from a different Ghostface and he gets killed. And I found that to just be an awesome cold open for a Scream movie. It's one of my favorites, but even though it's a good cold open, I cannot possibly justify putting Jason higher on this list because he's not really a main Ghostface. He's just kind of a cool, subversive, cold open kill. Number 12, Roman Bridger from Scream 3. From what I've seen online, I think this is a little bit of a hot take because a lot of Scream fans really like Roman. But for me, he kind of represents all of my problems with Scream 3. I didn't hate him. I like the fact that he is a more intelligent, well thought out Ghostface who kind of like took his time and waited for years to craft this plan to get back at Sydney. Like, I kind of like that, but also I think the lore behind this character is way too complicated and unnecessary. Scream 3 is making fun of how third movies and trilogies are always way too complicated with the lore and bringing things back to the original, but it makes fun of that stuff by doing it, by having Roman secretly be behind all of the murders in Scream 1, and also he's Sydney's long-lost brother. Like, I just thought all of that was way too overly convoluted. It felt incredibly unnecessary for this franchise. And to be honest, I also just didn't find Roman to be that menacing compared to most other Ghostfaces. So I'm not a Roman fan. I do, at the very least, respect the fact that he is the only Ghostface in this entire franchise to go solo. Number 11, Quinn Bailey. It's one of the actual Ghostfaces from Scream 6. And, okay, so something I'm gonna say, even though I really like Scream 6, I think it is a good movie, I'm not a fan of its Ghostfaces. For one thing, it has 3 of them, and I think that was too many for this movie. I think as a result, when you get into the third act, they're all kind of competing for screen time and trying to out-crazy each other, and it just feels a little bit forced and unnatural. And I also think that with some of them, they're retreading on territory that we've already covered before in previous Scream movies. When it comes to Quinn, I think she is easily the most unnecessary and most underused Ghostface in the film, where it's like, okay, so she dies. Like, she dies like 40 minutes into the movie, and then she's missing for the majority of the movie, and then at the end, there's the big reveal that, oh, she's still alive and she was a Ghostface. By doing that, you are intentionally giving her less of a presence and less screen time in the movie than the other two Ghostfaces have. And so, yeah, I just didn't find her to be that necessary to the plot of the movie, and I found her to be the weakest Ghostface in the film. Number 10, Ethan Landry. With Ethan, also from Scream 6, I respect the fact that they were trying to explore kind of incel culture with him, where, like, in the movie, there's this whole running joke where he's scared of dying a virgin, and then when it's revealed that he's a ghost face, turns out that whole thing wasn't an act. He is just actually scared of dying a virgin, and part of the reason why he's trying to kill these people is because he, like, feels vengeful towards Tara for not paying attention to him and everything. And I do like using a ghost face to explore incels, but problem, we already did that with Charlie in Scream 4. Like, that's what he was. Yes, Scream 4 came out before incels were, like, really that widely talked about of a thing, but still, that is what Charlie was. And so, like I said, Ethan is a character where I thought we were retreading on territory we've already done in the Scream franchise. Number 9, Wayne Bailey. Kind of the same thing that I said about Ethan, because Wayne is too reminiscent of Mrs. Loomis, in my opinion. Wayne is this vengeful parent who's trying to get revenge on Sam for killing his psychopathic son. That's what Mrs. Loomis was. I do kind of like the whole funny reveal that it turns out Richie's entire family is just a bunch of psychopaths. But once again, that's kind of what we revealed with the Loomis family in Scream 2. So yeah, I don't really care for the ghost faces in Scream 6. I didn't hate them. I think they're fine, but they're just not that great compared to most of the other ghost faces in the franchise. Alright, I would just like to say I think there's quite a sizable gap between number 9 and number 8 on this list. I think this is where we start to get into the ghost faces that I actually really like. First up in that category, number 8, Charlie Walker from Scream 4. I kind of already talked about why I like Charlie when I was talking about Ethan. I like the fact that they're making fun of incels when it comes to Charlie. Like, he became a ghost face essentially just because he felt like the girl of his dreams was rejecting him, and as a result, he was in a state where he was easily manipulated by Jill into helping her, and then eventually, when you get to the end of the movie and he's no longer of use anymore, Jill quickly disposes of him. Like, I think it's a good concept for a ghost face to have a ghost face that is essentially an incel. And I think it's funny because, like I said, Scream 4 came out before incels were like a widely talked about thing. So Scream 4 was kind of ahead of its time in that category. I do think Charlie is a little bit weaker just because I think he's overshadowed by Jill a little bit. Like, he doesn't manage to match the craziness of Jill in Scream 4, but still, I think he's a pretty unique, good Ghostface. Number 7, Amber Freeman from Scream 5. I think Amber is kind of just a classic good Ghostface. I don't think there's anything that special or unique about her, but she's just a very effective entry in the franchise. Like, at the start of the film, she seems like just a normal best friend who you can trust. Tara seems very close with her, so she never really, like, jumps out at you as that much of a suspect. So, when the reveal happens, it is sufficiently shocking, and after the reveal, she becomes just this crazy, over-the-top serial killer who I really loved in that role. Amber's one who I don't really have a lot to say about. I just thought she was a good Ghostface. Not to mention, 2 ways that she is unique. She's the only Ghostface to be played by an Academy Award winner, which is fascinating, and also, she's the only Ghostface who managed to kill a member of the franchise's main trio, which is also the reason why she's the Ghostface I hate the most, because she took my boy Dewey away from me. Number 6, Mickey Altieri from Scream 2. I won't lie, this is one where when the reveal first happened at the end of the movie, I was a little bit underwhelmed by it. I like it way more when the Ghostfaces are main characters in the movie. I think that makes the reveals way more satisfying. And with Mickey, I wouldn't really call him a main character. He's just some guy in Randy's film class. So I was a little bit underwhelmed when the reveal first happened. With that being said, he's still a pretty great Ghostface. Like, after the reveal happens, he solidifies himself as an incredibly manipulative, hateable villain, since he manages to manipulate Sydney into thinking that her boyfriend is the killer before killing him. And also, his motivation is really, really good, where he's one of the most crazy Ghostfaces. He doesn't even want to get away with it. He wants to get caught because he wants to see how the trial is going to go. It's all like a test for him. He wants to see, can I get away with this by blaming scary movies? And, like, yeah, I think that's a great, crazy Ghostface motivation. I think Mickey is a really fun, unique Ghostface, even if I don't love the reveal. Number 5, the other Ghostface from Scream 2, Mrs. Loomis, Billy Loomis's mother. And this reveal, I thought, was also underwhelming to a certain extent, but I also thought it was kind of cool to have this reveal that this reporter that you've been seeing frequently throughout the movie, who you never really think too much about, is actually a ghost face. That's kind of satisfying, and I actually liked it a lot more than the Mickey reveal. And then I think Mrs. Loomis is just a phenomenal ghost face after the reveal. I absolutely love the revelation that Billy Loomis just comes from a family of psychopaths. Like, he's not the only one. His mother is also deranged in the same exact ways that he is. I thought that was a really fun twist. And I also just think Mrs. Loomis has a great motivation, since it's simple revenge. She just wants to kill Sydney because Sydney killed her son. She doesn't care why Sydney did it. She doesn't care that her son was a psychopath. She just cares that Sydney killed him and she wants revenge. So, Yeah, very simple, effective, great Ghostface. Number 4, I've got one of the OGs here, Stu Macher, one of the original 2 Ghostfaces from the first Scream film. I think Stu is probably the most purely fun Ghostface, where, to be honest, he doesn't really have that much of a motivation. He doesn't really have anything that interesting to him, but he's just such a memorable killer because of how much of an over-the-top psychopath he is. Where, like, even before the reveal, he's a little bit weird and a little bit suspicious, and then after the reveal, he just goes insane. Like, he's constantly speaking with exclamation points. He is just this deranged, terrifying killer who is super memorable. Matthew Lillard played him to perfection. So, yeah, Stu is easily one of the best ghost faces in the franchise just because of how insane he is. Number 3. Alright, I'm curious to see how people react to this because I think this is going to be a little bit of a hot take. Billy Loomis. The original Ghostface is only number 3 for me. I do not think he's the best Ghostface in the franchise. I still love him. With that being said, he made it incredibly high on this list for a reason. What I think is awesome about Billy is the fact that he is the most obvious Ghostface in the franchise, and that's why the twist works. When I saw Scream for the first time, I immediately knew, right from the first scene with Billy, that guy's the killer. Then, the movie plays this weird reverse psychology thing with you, where everybody else thinks he's the killer too. Like, everybody in the movie constantly thinks that Billy is the killer. Even Sidney is suspicious of him. So, throughout the movie, you're kind of thinking, okay, I'm pretty sure this guy's the killer, but maybe he's not, because it seems like that might be too obvious, and the movie plays with your expectations so that when you get to the reveal, you're like, oh, okay, he was the killer, but you're also surprised at the same time, and I think that was just brilliant. And then I think Billy is just a great classic Ghostface. He's terrifying, he's hateable, like throughout the whole movie, he's so manipulative of Sidney that he just gets under your skin and you hate this guy. He's like quoting scary movies as he's killing people because those are his inspiration. Like, yeah, I just think Billy, he's the first Ghostface, and he is a legendary horror icon for a reason. But with that being said, there's 2 that I like slightly more than him. Number 2, Richie Kirsch from Scream 5. I loved Richie so much. I thought he was a phenomenal Ghostface. Throughout the whole movie, he just acts like such a normal, nice guy that you don't really suspect him being a Ghostface. Like, he just seems like such a normal boyfriend who's actually scared of getting killed. So the reveal genuinely catches you off guard. And then after the reveal, Richie has one of my favorite motives in the entire franchise. As somebody who, like, grew up in this era of legacy sequels and toxic fandom, the fact that Richie is just a toxic fan is hilarious to me. Like, I mentioned in my ranking of all of the movies, one of my favorite lines in the entire franchise is Richie saying, "How could fandom be toxic? It's about love," because that's actually a thing that, like, toxic fans will say online when they're arguing with people. And so, yeah, I thought Witchy was just a perfect satire of toxic fans. I thought Jack Quaid was great at playing this insane, psychotic Ghostface. I just really loved Witchy. I think he's easily one of the best Ghostfaces. But with that being said, my number one, Jill Roberts, the single most shocking Ghostface in the entire franchise, in my opinion. Scream 4 is a parody of horror remakes. In this movie, they're kind of remaking the plot of the original film with this next generation, and then the legacy characters are also there. But in this remake, Jill is presented as the new Sydney, and as a result, she's the one character I never expected. Like, why would I expect the new Sydney to be the killer? That doesn't make any sense. So when you get to the reveal and she takes off her mask, my jaw actually dropped. I was shocked that they made Jill the killer in this movie. And then from there, she just is the perfect Ghostface, in my opinion. She's terrifying because of how pure evil she is. Like, she's a demon. She does not care about anyone. She makes it incredibly clear she is willing to sacrifice friends, family, just to get what she wants. She's over the top. She's crazy. Her motivation is just fame. Like, it's one of the simplest Ghostface motivations. She doesn't care about, like, friends or family. She just wants to get famous. She only wants fans. And so I thought she was a perfect Ghostface. She's the one who undoubtedly gets the closest to killing Sydney, and she is just easily my favorite in the franchise. So, yeah, I don't know how people are going to react to me not having Billy Loomis at number one, but as far as I'm concerned, Jill earned this top spot. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe. Comment down below who is your favorite Ghostface in the Scream franchise. And see ya, movie fans.